take a look at Jim Leyland's starting lineup for the Tigers. A number of changes after the injury to Sean Casey. Curtis Granderson leads off in center. Neifi Perez, the starting shortstop. Placido Polanco at second. Maglio Ordonez in right. Carlos Guillen at first. Ivan Rodriguez catching. Craig Monroe in left field. Alexis Gomez, the DH. And Brandon Inge, who had 3 hits, including a home run, is at third. And getting the ball for the Oakland Athletics, won 11 games during the regular year against 9 defeats. An ERA a shade under 5 is Esteban Loaiza. And his pitcher profile is brought to you by your Exxon and Mobil retailers.
Those numbers are ugly, Tom, but he's been a lot better since August 1st. 7-2. He throws a real hard sinker. He throws mostly away to righties. He's got a cutter and a slider. Right there in the profile it says cutter or slider. Sometimes he goes harder on that cutter. It makes it look a lot more like a slider. Down and in to left-handed hitters.
Looking at first base for the Tigers, number 18, Andy Van Slyke.
Just about set for the first pitch. Budweiser select. Brewed longer for a bold taste. It finishes clean. Expect everything. Our broadcast is always available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. We are set to go as Curtis Granderson will lead things off. Went 2 for 5 in game 1, scored a run, and had a double. He has 7 hits and 22 postseason at-bats, including a pair of home runs. Loaiza rocks, kicks, and delivers. Ball 1 down low, and we are underway in Oakland.
And a quick impression. These Oakland fans showed a lot more urgency here in Game 2 than in Game 1.
Well, they had very little to cheer about in the game here last night.
Well, maybe if they opened up the upper deck here, they'd have more people in here cheering. They have less seats in this stadium right now than they have in Boston. Look at the upper deck up there, all of it tarped off. They will open it, however, for the World Series if the A's make it.
Grounded foul up the first base line.
And I don't know why you don't open up the upper tank, sell those tickets for $10 and let as many people that want to come to playoff baseball get in here and enjoy it.
Loaiza signed by the A's to a 3-year contract during the offseason. Went on the disabled list early in the year. Was really struggling at an ERA of over 8 through the first month and a half. Granderson lets a fly ball in the left field and rumored to track for Jay Payton. 1 away. The Athletics very good defensively during the regular season. Did not play well on defense here last night. Only 1 error, but did not turn a double play that should have been turned. Jimenez getting a start at second base after the injury to Mark Ellis during the division series. Scudero the shortstop. Chavez and Swisher on the corners. And an outfield of Payton, Kotsay, and Bradley. Neifi Perez gets a start at shortstop tonight, with Guillen moving over to first base. Neifi came over from the Cubs late in the year, played in 21 games with the Tigers, hit 200 with 5 runs batted in. But one of those kind of players we've seen through the years. There are nights where all of a sudden he'll have a 3-hit game, drive in a couple of runs, and play beautifully in the field. He can go the other way at times.
Well, Neifi Perez is a veteran player, so he should be up to the task of getting the job done. He's always been a good defensive player, and that's really what Leyland needs out there. He's got enough power in that lineup.
1-2 delivery. And it's on the outside corner, strike 3. 2 away in the inning, and let's welcome in the 4th member of our broadcast crew tonight, Chris Myers. Good evening, Chris.
Hey, Tom. How you guys doing? Steve mentioned the stadium here, the sun shining off the facade of the outfield. That glare had hitters talking yesterday and again today. Within about an hour, it should ease up, especially on the corners. Some of the players considering wearing sunglasses, but said that would interfere with the shady spots. So they're going to have to make an adjustment. It was at the point that the sun was not in the way yesterday when the Tigers opened up their offensive barrage. So that's the way the hitters are thinking, that the pitcher is going to have the definite edge until that sun and that glare is off the glass.
Placido Polanco, the batter, behind a strike. 1-1. Polanco 1 of 4, drove in a run. Also reached base via a walk in Game 1 of the League Championship Series last night. 8 hits so far for Polanco during the postseason. When he was out with that separated shoulder, the Tigers really struggled. And there's a base hit that finds a hole into left field.
You know, it's kind of funny, Lou. Everybody's talking about the glare off the windows, and it's not really the window. It's the tinted shades that they can pull down, and the glare comes off those tinted shades so that the people in the stands don't have the sun in their eyes. This is where the shading and the big glare is just gleaming right back down into the player's eyes when you're at the plate.
And talking to a few of the hitters yesterday, it was primarily the left-hand hitters that were bothered with it more than the righties.
Now Maglio Ordonez looks at strike one at the knees. 1 for 4 in game one, also drew a walk. Has 1 home run and 3 RBIs during this postseason. The 0-1. Swung on and fouled out of play. The MO on Loaiza, he throws a lot of strikes. And he's doing that here in the opening inning tonight.
Well, Loaiza's a veteran pitcher. He knows how to pitch. He's got that really good cut fastball. He changes some location and speed on his pitches, but you're right. The strength that he has is going right after the hitter.
0-2, struck him out. 1 hit, 1 left. The Athletics set to square off with Justin Verlander when we return. Ken Macha's starting lineup for the Oakland Athletics in game 2 of this LCS. Jason Kendall catching, Mark Kotsay in center, Milton Bradley in right. Frank Thomas hitless in the first game as a DH. Eric Chavez at third, Jay Payton in left. The latter third of Nick Swisher, Marco Scudero, and D'Angelo Jimenez. On the mound for the Tigers, right-hander Justin Verlander. A 17-game winner during the regular season. This pitcher profile brought to you by your Exxon and Mobil retailers.
17 wins as a rookie. He's got that 100-mile-an-hour fastball. He's got to have a good feel of the curveball to be effective.
Kendall, a fly ball in the short right center field. Polanco out to get it. 1 away.
Third point on that pitcher profile is that sometimes he gets ahead of himself. Don't rush, slow down, drop and drive, and do what you do. Having that feel for the curveball is key for him, because even though he throws very, very hard, if he has to rely on just the fastball and a changeup, hitters can sit on that. And he has a devastating curveball when he's got it going good.
Verlander, the Tigers' #1 pick back in June of 2004, only 2 years ago. And the native Virginian starting his second postseason game. He started game 2 of the division series against the Yankees. Did not figure in the decision. But what a huge game that was for the Tigers. That was the game, that was the win, where they knew they could play with the New York Yankees. Mark Kotsay looks at a fastball right down the middle on a 2-0 pitch. A strike.
Well, it's very impressive when a 23-year-old can step up that big in a big series against New York.
In Yankee Stadium.
Well, not only did they know that they could play with the Yankees from that point on, they flat out outplayed them for the rest of that series from that point on.
3-1 delivery. And Kotsay had a fastball at 96 miles per hour thrown right by him.
You're not catching up with that one, not when it's up around your letters.
Well, Verlander's just starting to loosen up.
That one lined into right center field. And knocking it down is Ordonez, but couldn't field it cleanly. So Kotsay into second with a stand-up double. Good effort by Ordonez. I'm not sure it's not a double anyway, even if he picks it up.
Absolutely. Ordonez was doing everything he could to get to that ball so it didn't get to the wall. He couldn't quite stop it. Gets his glove on it, kind of just kicks it back. As soon as Kotsay sees that, he knows he's going for 2. But if this ball gets by Ordonez, it's an easy triple or easy double and maybe a triple the way Kotsay runs. Nice swing.
Now Milton Bradley. He had 2 hits and 4 at-bats, including a double last night. Looks at ball 1 up and away. So here we go again with the Athletics. With runners in scoring position during this entire postseason, they have 4 hits in 43 at-bats and won a series.
Swept a series.
That one gets away from Rodriguez. And advancing on to third is Thompson.
You're not going to see this happen very often with Rodriguez behind the plate, one of the best in the business. He just got lazy on that ball, didn't get down on his knees, and didn't try to block it.
Well, that was a changeup. Usually you don't see changeups get by major league catchers.
Yeah. Well, you don't get down on your knees and try to block it. You just try to backhand it. There's only one catcher in baseball that ever could do that. That was Johnny Bench.
Swing and a miss on a 2-0 pitch clocked at 100 miles per hour.
And again, something very surprising here. In the first inning, Detroit playing their infield in.
Well, Jim Leyland must believe, obviously, this is going to be a low-scoring affair. And a soft liner out of the reach of Polanco. And by bringing the infield in, rather than a soft line drive out, it is 1-0 A's.
Yeah, usually in that first inning, Tom, you want to give the other team a run, get the out. You've got to have confidence in your offense. Wasn't a very good swing, but it just was enough to get the ball over Polanco's head in the right field.
I'm not sure that he barely had one hand on the bat when he made contact.
Well, the A's finally get their first hit in this series with a runner in scoring position after going 0 for 13, which tied an LCS record last night. It's time for our keys to tonight's game, brought to you by MasterCard.
Well, for Detroit, they've been the best pitching team in baseball all year long. Just continue to do what you do best. And for Oakland's hitters, with runners on, relax, not press, just get the job done.
Now they're already 1 for 1 in this game after 4 for 36 with runners in scoring position. All right, that's a balk right there on Verlander. I think he kind of hooked his cleat when he went to throw. Verlander does have a very quick move. He's an outstanding athlete. He may have stumbled a little bit when he went to go over and try to make that pickoff throw. Let's check it out again. Oh, there's the balk right there. He started and then stopped. You can't do that.
Hunter Wendelstedt, the home plate umpire, picked up the ball. So now Bradley in scoring position for Frank Thomas. And a fastball is high, 2-0. Verlander became the first Tiger rookie to win at least 17 games in a season since Mark the Bird Fivers back in 1976, won 19 games. 2-0 to Frank Thomas. Fastball right down the middle. He takes a strike. The rest of the judiciary here tonight. Darrell Cousins at first, Chuck Merriweather at second, Gary Cedarstrom at third. A 6-man umpiring crew for the postseason. Mike Riley down the left field line. Jerry Crawford up the right field line.
Well,
at 100 miles per hour.
How you get big Frank Thomas out? You overpower him, and that's exactly what Verlander did with that pitch. Good high fastball. Zip.
100 miles an hour.
Boy, would you like to throw that hard, Steve?
I don't want to have to try to hit it.
3-2. And there you see something you pointed out, Steve. Jim Leyland told us today. Verlander needs to be able to throw the curveball for strikes. And so far, not a good feel for that pitch.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, but you could be down 3-0 before you figure it out.
Strike 3, Thomas gone. 2 away in the inning.
Nothing fancy. Here it comes, hit it. Frank just didn't.
So now Chavez. 1 for 3 in game 1, also drew a walk. Fastball up and away. Talked about all the injuries that Chavez has had to play through this season because of leg injuries. It forced him to use his arms almost exclusively in his swing, which caused tendonitis in his forearms. Went into Ken Macha's office during the year and said, "Bat me ninth." strike on the outside corner. So Maka did him a favor and hit him 8.
Well, it's amazing. When he came up, they weren't sure he was going to be a good fielder, but they were really confident about his hitting. And boy, has he become a good fielder. This year with the injuries, it's hurt his hitting a little bit, but he's feeling much better. I think he'll have a good series.
Down and in. The Athletics had the 3rd worst batting average with runners in scoring position among all major league teams this year. Swing and a miss by Chavez on a 2-1 pitch, now 2-2. And Eric only hit .202 in those situations.
We're watching Verlander here early. I can see where if he's getting his breaking ball over, he's going to get a lot of punch outs.
Yes, he is.
Fastball up.
That should be pointed out, too, since August 1st. Verlander was just 4-5. ERA of up over 4, 4.44. Loaiza, on the other hand, was 7-2 in that same period. Contrast in pitching.
3-2 the count on Chavez. Lined hard into center field. Granderson is there. And in the sunshine makes the catch. But the A's jump on Verlander for a run in the opening inning. Top of the 2nd inning, game 2 of this American League Championship Series, and the Athletics out to a 1-0 lead. Carlos Guillen to lead things off. 9 hits and 19 at-bats during this postseason. 1 for 5 in game 1 last night. He makes only his 5th start of the entire season at first base. That one driven down the left field line and up against the wall. A leadoff double for Guillen.
Now, this is flat out the best hitter on this team, and one of the reasons is because he does exactly that. Doesn't try to do too much with the ball. Will hit the ball where it's pitched. That ball's a sinking fastball away from him. He just goes out and pokes it down the left field line.
That is now a whopping 15 doubles so far in this postseason for the Detroit Tigers. They had 12 in the 4-game division series against the Yankees. 2 last night and 1 by Guillen tonight. Pudge squares around a bunt, takes up and in for a ball.
I think Pudge might be just trying to get Chavez in. I don't think he'll be bunting in this situation.
Oh, he's a great opposite field hitter, so he's going to take the chance of getting a base hit to right field, and if he doesn't, he most likely will hit the ball to the right side and move Guillen over anyway.
Swinging a foul ball back out of play in game 1 of the 4th inning last night. Rodriguez, a solo home run, extending the Tigers' lead to 3-0, his 4th career postseason home run. And you saw the note a moment ago. With a minimum number of 25 at-bats, with runners in scoring position, Ivan Rodriguez is baseball's all-time leader, hitting with runners in scoring position. And right here, he just gets the job done. Yep. Advancing the runner on to third. That is a big league piece of hitting right there by one of the all-time greats.
Well, you need to advance runners, especially early in the ball game. And Rodriguez does an excellent job of doing that.
Now, people sitting around at home say it was just a harmless ground ball to the right side, but that's exactly what they wanted him to do. Hit the ball to the right side. If you get a base hit, maybe you drive him in, but you darn sure better get the job done and get him over to third base with less than 1 out, less than 2 outs.
Well, now the A's going to bring their infield in for Craig Monroe. 1 hit and 4 at-bats, including an RBI. Also drew a walk in game 1.
Well, both managers are using the same strategy. They don't want to give up a cheap run early in the ball game.
Would you do it, Lou?
Early in the ball game, I like to get some outs. I don't like to get extra base runners on base so the other team can have a big inning.
Yeah, because the drawback is if you do pull the runners in or pull your fielders in, the potential for a big inning is there if they start stringing base hits together because you are in.
Usually singleton runs don't beat you. When you start putting cricket numbers on the board, that's what beats you.
And we saw in the last half inning when Jim Leyland brought his infield in. Not only did the soft liner get out of the reach of Polanco to bring in a run, but Bradley wound up going to second base on a walk. They just couldn't get any more hits. to put those crooked numbers up. Jim Leyland taking a third franchise to the postseason this year. Got the Pirates there 3 consecutive years as champions then of the National League East. And then in 1997 led the Florida Marlins to the World Series title, downing the Cleveland Indians. Infield in. 1-2 pitch. Just low.
Craig Monroe has struggled a little bit in the second half of the season, but he's hit 2 postseason home runs. And I like the way he matches up with Loaiza. Loaiza occasionally will try to run that 4-seam fastball up in the zone with 2 strikes. Monroe, a pretty decent high ball fastball hitter.
There's that pitch up. Although Monroe, you saw the note there a moment ago, only 1 hit in 12 at-bats against Loaiza. But a chance here to just put the bat on the ball and bring in a run to tie this game after Rodriguez advanced the runner on to third. He does put the bat on the ball. This one in the deep right field. Milton Bradley, a nice running grab. But tagging and scoring is Guillen. The Tigers get him on, get him over, and get him in.
Well, that's classic playoff baseball.
Tigers doing a nice job of getting that run across. I'll tell you what, this is a nice play by Milton Bradley. Great route to this ball, straight across. This is the type of play that if this ball gets by you, you're looking at a run scored, and at least a double, maybe a triple, and you get a lot of style points for those sweet shades he's wearing.
You were talking about those, Psycho, about a half hour before the game.
Hey, looks like Elton John out there.
He was jealous. He wanted to pair up here.
You know, you ought to go down and talk to your buddy as Alexis Gomez getting his first start of this series. Lines it to Bradley in right field. We'll get one more look at those shades. 1-1 game. Bottom half of the second inning, game 2 of this American League Championship Series. A 1-1 game, and Jay Payton to lead things off. First pitch swinging. A high fly ball into left field. 1 pitch and 1 out. That'll bring Nick Swisher to the plate back on April the 18th. When the Tigers came west, Nick Swisher against Justin Verlander. Not just once, a 2-run home run in the second inning, but twice. Got him for a solo shot in the 7th. One of 6 games this year, Swisher had more than 1 home run in a game. He hit 35 overall on the season, but a very quiet postseason for Nick Swisher. Let's send it downstairs to Chris Myers.
Swish talked about that 2-homer game, said he got fastballs from Verlander, and he said the last time he faced him, it was breaking ball and changeup that got him out, so he's anxious to see which will work here. He said his father, Steve Swisher, called him this morning watching, said, hey, you looked nervous last night. Don't be nervous in this game.
1-1 the count to Nick. Grew up in West Virginia. Played collegiately at The Ohio State University.
Well, that's pretty good advice from his old man. What you need to do in these type of games is relax and let your ability take over.
Foul ball back to the screen. The dish on Swish. What's going on, man? We've heard that about 9 times this year when we've come in to do Oakland games. Was an outstanding football player recruited by the Fighting Irish to play strong safety, and didn't get much of a baseball scholarship to go play for Ohio State. So he really got overlooked by everybody as far as his ability in baseball was concerned.
How many scouts do you think scour West Virginia for baseball?
Big hurt, middle hurt, little hurt. There's the big one.
Probably not very many to answer your question, but there are a lot of good baseball players that come out of the Midwestern part of the country. There's strike 3 called to Swisher. A breaking ball in the outside corner.
Well, we talked about the feel for the breaking ball. Here it is. Watch him jelly leg a little bit. Looking for that fastball. He's out in front, can't pull the trigger. When you're looking for 100 and you get about 85, you can't hit it.
Well, he was wondering how Verlander would attack him. Tonight, he just found out.
I don't believe Swisher's nervous at all, though.
Marco Scutaro, hitless in game 1, fouls it out of play. Scutaro, of course, drove in 6 runs during the division series. had 4 doubles. All 4 of his hits were doubles.
You talk about a guy that turned it on. I mean, mid-June, this guy was hitting $188. Very similar to Frank Thomas.
But he got a chance to play, and the rest is history. It's one of the main reasons that this Oakland A's team is here in the playoffs right now.
Especially in the second half, like they always do. Put that second half run on. Was a 300 hitter in the second half with an on-base percentage of up around 380. So he was getting on base, whether the rest of the boys were driving him in or not.
And, of course, he is filling in for the injured Bobby Crosby, who was the American League's Rookie of the Year. But Crosby has been injured almost this entire season. Here's a 1-2. What a breaking ball by Verlander. He strikes out 2 of the 3 in the inning.
I think he found the touch.
Brandon Inge to lead things off when we return. A 1-1 game as we begin the 3rd inning. And Esteban Loaiza delivers a fastball, strike 1 to last night's hero for the Tigers, Brandon Inge. He only had 2 hits during the division series without an RBI. And then in game 1, 3 for 3 with a home run and 2 batted in. He pops it up to the second baseman, Jimenez. 1 away. Talked about Inge, not only the 3 hits, was on base 4 times, had the solo home run in the 3rd inning. That was the first run of the game. And then in the 4th, a double, scoring Marcus Thames. And that extended the Tigers' lead to 4-0. Breaking ball popped up by Granderson.
When's that going to come down?
Oh, Kendall had to battle that one now.
Well, it's not easy, that high sky here in Oakland.
I think it was the burnout upon re-entry. That thing went about a mile up.
Number 8, Navy Perez.
Right now, Kendall is saying stuff in his mind that we can't repeat on TV.
But look at the concentration. He just looked that ball right into his glove.
Now Navy Perez with 2 down and nobody on, and we're getting a look here tonight. That's something, Steve Lyons, you brought up before the ball game last night. The Tigers, a very free-swinging team. They strike out a lot, don't walk a lot. But last night, they showed unbelievable patience against Barry Zito, and it paid off. They knocked Zito out of the game in the 4th inning, scoring 5 runs. 1-1 to Perez. One hopper back to Loaiza, who sails through the 3rd in 1-2-3 fashion after 2.5, a 1-1 game. Bottom half of the 3rd inning, a 1-1 game. The Athletics scoring in the 1st against Justin Verlander. A 1-out double by Kotsay, scored on a single by Milton Bradley. Strike 1 to D'Angelo Jimenez. The Tigers tie the game. Textbook baseball. A leadoff double by Guillen, a ground ball by Rodriguez to the right side, got him a 3rd, and a fly ball to right by Monroe. Scored Guillen to tie the game. 1-1 to Jimenez, and he pops it up right side of the infield. Polanco is there for the first out. Time for the Holiday Inn look again. Plays from last night. Brought to you by Holiday Inn, the official hotel of Major League Baseball. 4 double plays turned by the Tigers on defense. The 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th.
Double vision.
Jason Kendall popped up to Polanco his first time up and looks at a fastball, strike 1.
Boy, that fastball really comes out of Verlander's hand very, very easy.
The breaking ball ain't bad either.
They talk about him being a tremendous athlete. I asked him, I said, you know, I haven't seen too many guys throw 100. How do you do it? He said, I don't know. He said, not more physically gifted than other guys. got all scientific on me. He started talking about fast twitch and, other muscles that store energy. And,
knowing you, that's going south.
I just walked away. I had no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, just go get him.
I know one thing.
To Hoffer, to Perez, who charges, throws, got him. You know one thing, Mr. Piniella?
He gathers himself very, very easy. He's got really good balance on that mound, and he really gets leverage when he throws that baseball.
Good drop and drive guy.
Well, tomorrow night on Fox, it will be Game 1 of the National League Championship Series from Shea Stadium. The Cardinals and the Mets. Our coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on Fox. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, and longtime Arizona Diamondback Luis Gonzalez will be on the call tomorrow night from the Big Apple. Game 1 rained out, scheduled for tonight.
Yeah, early in the ball game, Verlander was missing up with his fastball, trying to overthrow it a little bit. Now he's starting to get that ball down, starting to mix his changeups and his breaking balls. Boy, he's really, really pitching effective.
Kotsay hit a bullet into right center field that went for a double in the first inning, and Kotsay scored the only Oakland run on a base hit from Milton Bradley. Breaking ball grounded foul.
See, what about the future of this Detroit team with two 23-year-old right-handers in a rotation?
You want that job?
No, I'll tell you, but that's impressive, isn't it?
Right. As long as they stay healthy.
1-2 pitch. And a fastball is up at 97. Not a lot of fooling around out there by either one of these pitchers. Loaiza or Verlander. They get the ball and go get them. Breaking ball, fought off by Kotsay. Boy, you talk about the future is now indeed, Lou. Justin Verlander, 23. Granderson, 25. Bonderman we'll see in Game 4, 23. And the big fella, Joel Zumaya. He even drinks champagne fast. Barely old enough to have any champagne. He's 21.
There's Kenny Rogers on that list.
Into left field, and Kotsay, another extra base hit. 2 at-bats, 2 doubles after bouncing into 2 double plays last night.
Sometimes Kotsay is one of the forgotten men in this lineup for the A's, but man, he stormed back. Even with his back issues in the second half, he hit .326, not trying to do too much, trying to go the other way. When a guy throws harder, you got to slow things down and be quicker, not swing harder, trying to drive the ball the other way.
Actually, that ball was on the inner half of the plate, and he stayed inside of it, almost inside out of it, out at that ball down the left field line. Good approach to hitting.
Now Milton Bradley. In the air, right center field, hit well. Goodbye. Milton's fired up.
Milton Bradley did his home run trot for 3 bases and then sprinted the rest of the way home.
Designated hitter, number 35,
Bradley has knocked in all 3 Oakland runs tonight. RBI single, and now breaks a 1-1 tie with a 2-run home run. His second home run in his postseason.
It looked like a off-speed pitch that Bradley just tomahawked into the right center field seats.
Here's Frank Thomas. Grounded foul. Let's take a look at the home run. Is that a changeup?
It looked like a changeup, yes. Up in the zone.
Swing and a miss by Thomas, and that will end the inning. A single, a 2-run home run, 3 runs knocked in. It's 3-1 Oakland as we begin the 4th. Polanco, Ordonez, and Guillen, the trio to face Esteban Loaiza, who's allowed 1 run on only 2 base hits. He's retired the last 6. Good breaking ball for a strike.
Well, Loaiza struggled a little bit in the first inning, and since then he's been pounding the strike zone. The last inning, 6 pitches, 3 outs.
Just off the outside corner.
There's that little cutter you're talking about.
Away to the righties.
Well, what a start here tonight, though, for Oakland. A very difficult loss as Loaiza drops down and misses inside. 2-2 to Polanco. They had so many chances last night, couldn't cash in. And against a guy like Justin Verlander, with an ERA in the mid-3s, a 17-game winner to put a 3 spot on the board through the first 3 at-bats. A great start for the A's.
And that's exactly what they needed. Get some confidence. Hitting is contagious.
On the ground and into center field, a base hit by Polanco.
Oh, Milton Bradley can ignite a lineup in a lot of different ways. Not always positive. This one certainly is. You know his mother down in Long Beach is smiling. It's where he gets his inspiration from. And how about the Oakland Athletics doing some dancing, some sweet handshaking? A lot of having fun. How much of a rock star is Swisher? Check him out. Looks like he should have a bass in his hands there. Huh. Hot tub.
I wish I could dance like that.
Well, the thing I love about that, I mean, the game's changed. You know that, Lou. They got all these fancy handshakes, guys going crazy. I suppose if we did that when we played, you'd stick one right in my ear hole. But they're having fun.
Into right field, a base hit by Ordonez, making a turn. And stopping at second is Polanco. Bradley got to that ball very quickly and has a strong and accurate throwing arm.
And that's what we talked about with this Oakland outfield. Every one of those guys out there have the ability to play center field. Milton Bradley loves to play center, playing right in this defensive outfield, but he gets to the ball very quickly like he had earlier in the ball game, making a strong throw many, many times. That's a first-third situation. You don't hold that guy to second very often on a ball down the right field line.
Well, you can see Polanco here just puts on the brakes, and when you have a really good throwing arm in right field, it makes that third base coach a little edgy, especially with no outs. But for my money, I think Polanco could have steamed into third base.
I'm with you. Carlos Guillen, the batter. Guillen doubled into left field in the second inning and scored the only Detroit run. Guillen in his career in 16 at-bats against Esteban Loaiza, 11 hits in their strike. So make it 12 for 17 now after the double his first time up.
That's the point we made in the open of the show. Carlos Guillen playing first base, normally the shortstop. Chris Shelton got more starts at first base than any other Tiger, not even on the postseason roster.
Loaiza in front of Guillen at 0-2.
Well, early in his career, Carlos was prone to injuries. Boy, but his past few seasons, he stayed healthy, and his production is getting better and better every season.
Guillen started his career in the Houston organization, was traded to Lou Piniella's Seattle Mariners in the Randy Johnson deal in 1998, and then traded to Detroit, where he is turning into one of the top players in the American League, but he's gone on strikes. A fastball thrown right by him. Take a look at our game summary presented by Verizon Wireless. If you're just tuning in, Milton Bradley, an RBI single in the first. A double, a ground ball, and a fly ball by Monroe tied the game in the second. Bradley breaks the tie with a 2-run big fly in the Oakland third. Now Rodriguez. Pudge in this at bat, not trying to advance a runner with a ground ball. He's trying to advance him 180 feet.
One of the best opposite field hitters. We've talked about that in this whole series. You see the center and right fielder gap jump into this gap here to try to prevent those hits there. That's where Pudge Rodriguez wants to hit the ball. You see Kotsay moving over into that right center field gap to try to prevent a gapper in that area.
Yeah, and that big hole is down the left field line. But Loaiza's going to be pitching him away. So what you do with your defense is you pitch him away and you play him away.
For whatever reason, Lou, it seemed like this year there was more overplaying defensively than any years in baseball I can remember in a long time.
A lot of outfield played their outfield over to the opposite side.
Well, Kendall going to come out to the mound and visit with Loaiza. Obviously, if you're going to start moving around your defense, whether it be the outfield or the infield, as a manager, you must have a lot of confidence in your pitcher to pitch where you want to try to attack the hitter and pitch into your defense, right?
You have to. And you've got to be careful with your off-speed pitches when you're playing people over to the other side, because those off-speed pitches will get hit down the line and they become doubles and triples very, very easily.
Right, we look at Rodriguez. We know he likes to hit the ball the other way, but every once in a while he'll cheat. He'll look in and he'll try to get out in front of one and hook one down the left field line.
Big pitch, 2-0. And it bounces up there. It goes to 3 balls and no strikes. Being very, very careful here with Rodriguez.
And one of the reasons also, you see more and more home runs hit to the opposite field over the center field fence. When I played, I think, Steve, when you played, you didn't see that as prevalent as you do today.
We didn't have the guns to hit the ball that far the other way.
A 4-pitch walk to Ivan Rodriguez to load the bases. We've already seen early in the game, in the first inning, when the A's scored, the Tigers came right back in the second and scored to tie it. Now here we are after a 2-run third for Oakland, and Detroit banging on the door. That's what they've been doing all season long.
Well, Monroe had a great at-bat his first time up when he took that ball to right field and drove in a run. Similar type situation.
They set up way inside, and a swing and a miss. The bases are loaded for the Tigers with 1 away here in the 4th. Loaiza looking for that double play ball. Monroe with the bases loaded this season, 3 of 9, including a grand slam. A ball and a strike.
Detroit's a power hitting team. Power hitting teams are usually more of fly ball type hitters. So you're going to get more flyouts and ground balls from the Detroit team.
Line drive into center field, a base hit, 1 run will score. They're going to hold Maglio Ordonez at third. So Monroe, his second RBI of the game. The bases are loaded, and Oakland's lead is down to 1. Well, that's good hit right there by Monroe.
Yeah, Monroe told me in the first game of the series that his power and his discipline is up the middle. Unfortunately, he plays in a ballpark where you hit the ball up the middle. It's such a big outfield. Your power numbers go down. But that's great discipline, just hitting the ball right up the middle. And the great arm of Kotsay, nice throw to the plate coming right into your living room, is the reason why Ordonez had no chance to try to score on that play.
Well, now the trainer coming out to have a look. I think that's a cramp from Monroe.
Well, one thing for sure, Detroit can't afford too many more injuries.
Speaking of injuries, let's send it downstairs to Chris Myers.
Yeah, Tom, I talked to Tiger first baseman Sean Casey before the game, and he told us, you mentioned it at the top of the broadcast, he is out for the remainder of this series, that second-degree tear in his calf muscle. Jim Leyland said it's unlikely if the Tigers went out of the World Series that he could play there. The first base position, the adjustments there, even Ivan Rodriguez said, if you need me there, I'll play there, but Leyland said that would just be in an emergency. So the effect overall, we'll see how it affects the Tigers without Casey, but at least it's on their minds and having to rearrange their lineup.
Oh, he talked about Casey, one of the most likable, if not the most likable player in baseball today. And a shame that he leaves in the opening game of a league championship series. Here's Gomez. Hit the ball very hard his first time up. A line drive at Milton Bradley in right field. And Alexis Gomez, who played in 62 games, got 103 at-bats for the Tigers. A chance to tie it or give him a lead.
Well, Leland likes this young man. He thinks he's going to be a fine major league hitter with a little more experience, and he thinks he can pop one once in a while for him.
I say he's got unbelievable power. All the Tigers were happy that this was a 5 o'clock start because they say this guy in batting practice puts on a show.
Are you saying he's a 5 o'clock hitter?
5 o'clock hitter.
What time is it?
A little later now, but, game started at 5. They say that he hits balls so deep into the upper deck no matter where they go.
2-1. And that's up 3 balls and a strike. And all of a sudden, Loaiza, who had terrific command in the second and third inning, is laboring with his control here in the fourth. 3-1 pitch. On the ground. Under the glove of Chavez, off the glove of Chavez, and 2 runs are going to score. So the Tigers have scored 3 times here in the fourth inning and lead for the first time tonight.
Boy, if you're Ken Maka, that's not what you want to see. It's just a ground ball. Chavez ranges far to his left, goes under his glove and into short left field.
Yeah, this is one of those plays where it's nobody's fault. He's trying to make the play. And Scuderi's going the other way trying to make the play, but after it glances off his glove, it just bounces into the outfield where nobody is, and another run scores because of it. They couldn't keep the ball in the infield.
Now Brandon in with runners on the corners. I guess the one thing you couldn't wonder about, fellas, and Steve, you've been there, Lou, you've been there. Would you like to see Chavez leave his feet there? I mean, you see it all the time on ground balls, and they don't get into the outfield. Just smother the thing.
Well, what you want is an infielder, obviously, is to keep that ball from going into the outfield. I think he was trying to turn a double play, and if he dives for that ball, he's not going to be able to do that.
Line drive into center field. Kotsay makes the catch. Tagging from third and coming in to score. Oh, what a throw by Kotsay. I don't think Monroe felt it was going to be as close as it turned out to be. But he scores, and it's a 5-3 Detroit lead.
Monroe took a very deliberate path, leaving third base. Wanted to make sure that he didn't leave too early, but Kotsay with an outstanding throwing arm. We already saw him hold Maglio Ordonez, and then a very close play right there. Kendall made a nice sweep tag after he snagged that ball. Just a smidgen too late.
And you saw a moment ago, Monroe had to take a breather, having cramps, it looked like, in his calf. And he was limping a little bit going back to the dugout after that slide.
Say, I'm impressed with the throwing arms of this Oakland outfield.
Our diamond cam planted just in front of home plate. Bird's eye view for you.
But I was talking before, it's got to be a little disappointing for Ken Maka. They finally push a couple runs across the board, take a 3-1 lead, and before you know it, it's 5-3 Detroit.
Anderson rolls over one foul.
Well, one of the things that I'm impressed with this Detroit team, especially since Jim Leland and the rest of his staff has taken over, is the little things that they do to win, the fundamental things. On that play where Monroe scored, Granderson was right there at home plate being the next hitter, telling him to slide and get down and make sure that he slid at home plate. Those are some things that get overlooked.
Breaking ball off the outside corner. Loaiza wanted the call, didn't get it.
Look at Granderson right there, making sure that Monroe knew that there was a play at the plate and told him he better get down or you're not going to be safe. Nice.
He's even playing umpire.
Foul tip into the mid of Kendall, and that will stop the bleeding for Loaiza. A 4-run fourth. The Tigers lead by a pair. 4-run fourth inning against Esteban Loaiza for Detroit. And the Tigers, after 3.5 with a 2-run lead. Chavez, Payton, and Swisher coming up against Justin Verlander, who's allowed 3 runs on 4 base hits, has struck out 4, not walked about it. Chavez lined out to center, his only time up. The Tigers very careful this season with Verlander. Last year, his first year in professional baseball. And in the minor leagues, they don't play through the month of September. So this year, for the first time in his career, tacking on an extra month to the season. Through 186 innings during the regular year, and they move him back a day here, move him back a day there to make sure they protected that golden right arm. And that's a golden breaking ball, and gone is Chavez.
And that's the right approach by Jim Leyland with his young pitcher. Here you'll see a really, really well-placed breaking ball, almost a backdoor variety, unhittable pitch.
A great motion, really good drop and drive. You know, watching Verlander, he reminds me a whole lot of Jack McDowell. With his years with the White Sox and the Yankees, McDowell was a Cy Young Award winner. Very, very similar in their approach. Long, lanky guys. McDowell didn't throw 100, but he had some nasty stuff.
Back to Verlander. Last year, pitched 128 innings. This year, he's already over 190. And the Tigers are taking a very safe approach with him, and rightfully so.
Well, Lou, you have to, don't you? I mean, they did the same thing up in Seattle this year with a young Felix Hernandez.
We did the same thing in Tampa Bay with a young Scott Kazmir. These pitchers are just valuable commodities.
And here you see, over the second half, Verlander having to pitch that extra month and knock on the door at 200 innings for the first time in his life.
And one of the reasons he might have struggled a little more the second half of the season is because of fatigue.
Base hit into center field by Jay Payton. So the tying run will come to the plate. And we told you earlier this season, Nick Swisher homered twice in one game against Verlander.
I wish some of my managers would have sat me out of games that I was going to go 0 for 4. Just back me out of a few of those. I'd be fresher at the end of the year.
You'd be a 330 hitter.
I'd have been a 230 hitter. A vast improvement.
Swisher called out on strikes, his only time up.
I remember I played with this particular player with the Yankees, and I ride out to the ballpark with him every day, and he lamented the fact that, boy, I'm never in the lineup. So this one particular day we come to the ballpark and he's in the lineup, and I said, buddy, you're in there. He says, I hate that manager. I said, what's wrong? He says, you play me against the only guy on that staff I can't hit.
Swing and a miss, 1 and 2.
Now, Bill Verdon was the manager. I'm not going to tell you who the player was.
So how do you end up doing?
He took his 0 for 4 like a man.
Absolutely. 1 and 2 on Nick Swisher. See 11 of the 64 pitches tonight from Verlander, reaching triple digits on the radar gun. Fastball up. Now, we brought up earlier in the game, Steve, you touched on Swisher wondering, how they were going to work on him. Chris Myers saying, he hit fastballs against Verlander. A pretty steady diet here of off-speed pitches. Now, that last fastball up in his zone, which makes you believe the hook is coming behind it, or the change. Yep, breaking ball that got away from him. So now what do you do 3 and 2?
Overthrew that overthrew that breaking ball. I come with the fastball. He swung through a fastball before. He's a good fastball hitter. He's had a lot of trouble with breaking balls and changeups, but this is the point in time where you just try to blow him away.
Yeah, this is power against power.
Well, if that's the case, Swisher better tune it up.
Get it up a little bit.
He didn't tune it up, and that's 98 right by him.
Right now, Swisher's having a little bit of trouble. He's got in the back of his mind that they're going to throw breaking balls to him, and he's swinging right through fastballs. Of course, at 98, pretty easy to swing through it.
Boy, you love the approach here by Verlander. Here it is, hit it.
Everybody in the stadium knew he was bringing the gas.
Two away for Marco Scutaro. First pitch breaking ball and a beauty.
Now, why do the eighth hitters that hit singles get those type of breaking balls?
Just to let you know I got it. Look at this thing, jelly leg. You don't know whether to swing or go blind right there.
Yeah, save that one for Big Frank Thomas. Make it fair.
Well, Verlander hadn't been fair to the Big Hurt tonight. He's blown him away twice. Verlander with 6 strikeouts. Has not walked about it. Kotsay and Bradley have done all the damage. Kotsay, 2 doubles, 2 runs scored. Bradley, a single and a 2-run homer, 3 batted in.
Boy, I wonder if Scutaro has robbed Rodriguez of a few base hits over there at the shortstop position.
I'm sure he gets everybody sooner or later.
1-1. Came with a fastball. And it's fouled out of play. It might be a silly question, but fellas, you guys face pitchers who threw 92, 93. How much of a difference is it when a guy's throwing 98 and 100? Is it that significant when you're in the box?
Well, it's not very comfortable. You don't get a good look at the ball. You've got to start your swing very, very early. A guy that had a really, really good fastball and a really, really good breaking ball was Bert Blyleven. And he was tough to hit.
You're throwing 98. You're talking about another 10% faster. You got to start everything quicker. You have to do things as a hitter way more quickly than you want to. You want to sit back, wait, recognize a pitch before you make a move to it. When you're throwing that hard, you're starting to make a move before you're having a chance to recognize the pitch.
And that's why if you get the change or you get the hook,
see ya.
Yeah.
And then when you can throw it at the knees in the outside corner like Sandy Koufax used it consistently, you're a Hall of Famer plus. Bob Gibson.
Roger Clemens.
There you go.
Look out.
That's what makes this game scary, because Scutaro has to respect the fastball, but he's also seen that big breaking ball. And that pitch is coming out on the same plane. You're not sure which one it is. By the time you recognize it, it's buzzing you.
Verlander only hit 6 batters all season long.
Thank God.
Yeah,
No kidding.
Look out.
Three-two pitch. Peyton gets started. And another fastball, and again Scutaro tardy, but he's still in there. Eighth pitch in this at bat. Jam shot pop up on a fastball, should in the inning. Ian got it. We're back after a break from your local Fox station.